living like a stage. Hey, hey, 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 love yourself first, explicitly. You owe it to yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dreams. Living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey, living like a stage. Hey, hey.
Hey y'all, happy Tuesday with the hallway. I hope everybody is having a wonderful week so far. Hey Deborah, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you tons. Thank you.
Hey Deborah.
Let's see, and we got some people over on Facebook. Just remember, if you're on Facebook, you might want to jump over to YouTube. You can still participate and see it on Facebook, but like I always explain, the platforms don't always play nice. So if you want to make sure that I can see all your comments in real time, or if you're interested in joining us up here on the screen, then you need to jump over to YouTube, make sure that you subscribe, and then you'll be able to participate in real time. But I hope everyone is having a great day. We just got home from picking Lux up from the groomer. So he is looking super, super cute, our little fluffy puppy. They have really been doing a great job the last couple of times. The times before that, I wasn't too happy. They were cutting him way too low and then trying to blame it on us and say that he was matted. But I don't think so, because we really haven't changed much of what we do with him. But the last couple of people have been able to do a good job. I think the other ones was just cutting his hair short just because it's easier. But he actually been coming home with a little style lately, and I'm liking it. So he is super, super cute. Today has been a very productive day. I met with a couple of clients today, and one potential client that quickly within that meeting turned into a new client. So that was great. I love that when people are able to make their decision during the first meeting, because that means they felt the vibe immediately and were like, you know what, I want to lock in today. And with that being said, remember that I do offer personal one-on-one coaching. And if you want to know more about that, then just slide in my DMs or send me an email and we can set that up. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is my professional look, Deborah, whenever I'm wearing the soft locks, because these are like all the way down to my butt this time. So I figured I would do the little librarian thing, put it up in the bun and throw my glasses on so I wasn't looking so beach ready. So I appreciate it. And it's so easy to do. Y'all know I'm not a hair girl, and I figured this out all by myself, like no scrunchies, no bobby pins, no nothing. These things are really easy to work with. So I appreciate you. This is the summer hair. So y'all are going to be seeing these type of styles for the next several months. And babe, I haven't let you say a thing. By the way, this is Dr. Wallace Hall. This is my partner in crime. This is my husband, my boo. Yeah. You got something to say? I forgot you were here.
I'm just glad to be here. How y'all doing today? I love the hair also.
Yeah, I went out to my meetings today. He said, oh, babe, you looking good. That's sexy. I was like, I wasn't going for sexy. I was going for professional. So, but yeah, he liked it. And this is what he going to say. Yeah, make sure you rock that later. Well, I live here, so I'm going to be bringing back the same look when I get home. So that's the fun thing I like, about being in a relationship where you can just, joke, be playful and all that kind of stuff. We keep it fun. But yeah, that's what he said. And I'm like, definitely wasn't going for sexy.
That's just the way it turned out.
It was the opposite of that. But anyway, y'all know how it is on the hallway with Wallace and I. We like to discuss everything, relationship, marriage, preparing for relationships, and just kind of give y'all the scoop on the things that have worked for us, the things that we've learned over the years, because even though we have a super duper happy relationship, we work well together, we're definitely team hall all the way. We've also had relationships in our past that didn't work quite as well. But what we decided to do when we got together was to be intentional about really figuring out what didn't go right in our past relationships and not make those same mistakes, and be able to work together to find a formula that is going to give us the absolute best opportunity to have success in our relationship. And that's where the hallway came about. And so today we're going to talk about the art of fighting fair. And please take the word fighting loosely. We're not talking about no fisticuffs. It's just for content purposes. The art of fighting fair, productive arguments in a relationship, because there can be some productivity in arguments if you fight fair and if you implement some sort of rules and regulations and rules of engagement as it pertains to your communication with one another. And we're just going to share some of the things that have worked for us, because like I said, we get along famously. We are definitely friends first. However, we're still two different individuals that sometimes look at things differently. Sometimes the way we receive information, perceive information is different. And so we've had to learn ways to communicate that when we are in those situations where we're not exactly seeing eye to eye, that we can work through those things in the most productive way possible. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And the first thing I want to talk about, you want to talk about the time limits?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
Well.
So the first thing I'm going to talk about is we always, when we see, okay, let me go back. Sometimes arguments come out of the clear blue. Okay. Sometimes you're just having a conversation or you mention something and you don't even know that it's going to be an argument because you don't know how the other person is going to receive the information. So you don't have anything on your mind negative. You're not thinking anything of it. And the next thing you know, you're in a disagreement. Or you may be, having a great day, whatever, and something just happens and you're in a disagreement. And so what we have learned to do and what we implement in our relationship is that if we don't plan the argument, which that's something, that we'll talk about as we move forward. But if these like spontaneous, for a lack of a better word, arguments just happen to pop up, as soon as we realize that we are now engaged in some sort of debate, in some sort of stressful conversation, we immediately decide that we're going to put a timer on that. And you want to elaborate on the timer?
Yeah, but real quick, kind of like what she said, fighting is a word we kind of used in the title. It's not really fighting. It's just when you want to have discussions, you want to have types of things like that, when you have disagreements and things like that. Fighting, it should be more of a situation where you're just having a discussion.
Yeah, discussion.
Having a conversation. Sometimes conversation be kind of serious or something like that, but it's not truly fighting. Okay, right. Let's just kind of want to clear that up in the very beginning of this.
Hey, J3.
Hey, J3. But the thing is, we kind of shared this before. Try to, when you're having serious arguments or serious disagreements or what we call those critical conversations, you want to try and put time limits on them. You want to limit them to about 20 minutes or something like that. If you, because the way I see it and what we found out, because we picked it up from a marriage seminar several years ago, that you want to put limits on those things, because after 20 minutes or so, you end up just fighting the fight. Because now you're really trying to hurt someone. You're really trying to hurt someone's feeling. You're trying to get them back. And what gets lost is the original start of the argument, disagreement, or conversation, what you're having in the first place. And what ended up happening? Nothing ended up getting solved. Now you spent all day, all night arguing back and forth about different stuff. And you never did even settle the initial situation that you were. Now you done brought up other stuff from 10, 12, 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. You brought those things into it now. And it's like, what are we even talking about? So that just ended up being wasted time, wasted effort, wasted energy. And I say this all the time.
Hey, Janet.
One thing you don't have is enough time. There's only 24 hours in a day. So why would you want to spend those 24 hours mad, angry, fighting, disagreement, trying to hurt the one you say you love? Why would you want to do that? That doesn't make sense. You want to be smart. You want to be smart with your time, because once that hour is gone, once that 2 hours, 3 hours is gone, you'll never get that back.
Yeah. And most of the time, the things that you're having a disagreement about, the things that you're arguing about are usually not life-changing things. So why are you going to spend all your time just trying to prove your point over something that really doesn't even matter? Most of the time when we're finding ourselves in this disagreement, it's usually a misunderstanding. Somebody perceives something the wrong way, and either the other person doesn't want to be accountable and apologize for how they said it or what they did, or the other person doesn't want to receive that apology or accept that that's not what was meant. And so we're going to argue about that, and it becomes semantics, or you're coming up with, well, you always do that, or what you did before, and this is what you did that time. And it's not productive. And so we put a time limit on it because we have to learn that when you're in relationships, compromise and agreeing to disagree are key to being able to move forward. There doesn't always have to be a right or a wrong. There doesn't always have to be a winner, because when things drag out and go on and on and on, nobody is going to win. You're both spending a lot of time. And I know it may sound dramatic, but we're not promised tomorrow. We're not promised that next minute. So my thing is, I want us to be able to enjoy each other and enjoy each other's company as much as possible. I don't have a whole day to waste on being mad. I definitely don't have a week to waste on being mad. And I know that I've talked to a lot of women who will sometimes hold on to things as a sort of punishment towards their spouse, knowing, hey, Chris, knowing that they're eventually going to be fine. But it's like, yeah, well, I'm just going to make him sweat for a couple of days. I'm just going to be mad for a couple of days. Why? Why would you plan that when you don't know if you have those couple of days? And so for us, it's just like, okay, we said everything we need to say. We heard each other out. Either we have come to a resolution or a conclusion, or we're just going to say, we're not going to agree on this one. You want to go get something to eat or not? And it's about loving that person enough and trusting that person enough to realize that they still respect your opinion. They still heard your viewpoint, and they're going to do their best to meet you where you are. They're not going to intentionally continue to do the thing that upsets you, even if they don't understand what it is. They have learned how you received it. They've learned your communication style. So when someone really cares about you, they're going to alter it. But what do you think that they're going to be able to do today to prove to you that it's going to be different? So have the conversation, speak your piece, and keep it moving. Let's see. Elaine said about 30 minutes in, so much other stuff has been brought up. You're not even arguing about what started it all. Exactly. It's just like, and another thing, and another thing. And you're just trying to constantly prove the other person wrong. You're constantly trying to win. And in the end, nobody's winning. Hey, Sandra, how are you? Doesn't feel good to hold on to that anger. No, I mean, it is a relief. Like, we literally have one of those hourglass things that we'll use, or set a timer on our phone if we're not in that room or whatever. And it is a relief to me when it's over. And you have to be respectful of that. So whatever time limit is that you share, and in my opinion, as your relationship goes on and the longer you're together, you should be able to dwindle that time limit down. So if you start with 30 minutes, you should be able to go to 20 minutes, be able to go to 15 minutes, because a lot of times, like with Wallace and I, we've learned each other to the point where we realize, like, okay, you're not going to see what I'm saying, and maybe you'll see it later. And that's the thing too. You have to call it quits sometimes, even if you may need to revisit it later, because you have to give yourself time to process it. Coming to the stage. Let's see. Mr. Marriage Expert himself, been married 112 years. What you got for us, J3?
112 years?
It's 112 years in married years.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
Every married year is like 5 years.
Okay. Ooh, 112. I don't think my heart could take all that. 112 years?
That's all the wisdom you have for the people. Wisdom.
Nah, you're right, but men don't get mad.
J3, I'm going to remove you.
Men don't get mad. Husbands don't get mad. Real husbands don't get mad. We get silent.
A lot of men get shut down. You're correct.
And then the wife say, "You mad? You mad?" and mad is not on my mind. I'm just it's all right for me to go sit down and chill out. Let you go ahead and do your rant, and you
But
mad.
what are, I mean, men have emotions. Look, Janet said, what? What do you mean men don't get mad? So do y'all get frustrated? Are you confused? What is it? It's something. What causes you to shut down?
We get frustrated sometimes with the whole argument. You walk in the door and say, dog, what happened?
Yeah. Those situations like what are you even talking about?
Yeah, sometimes us men get in an argument and we don't know that we're in an argument.
Yeah, I understand.
And not every conversation or every what we disagree on stuff is an argument. Sometimes, like I said, it's just a conversation. It doesn't have to be labeled as we had an argument. No, we just had a disagreement. That's all it was, just a disagreement.
Yeah.
I get that too. And I do understand that as women, sometimes we do expect y'all to read our minds. Like, you know what I'm upset about, or you know why I'm mad. But I think there's a lot of times when y'all don't want to admit that you're mad either, because men like to be like, oh, I'm always even keel.
But is that really important that we?
Because you went years saying you never get mad at me.
But is that really important that we have to admit that we're mad?
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is it important that we're mad?
Because then that way, if you admit why you're mad, then we can talk about what made you mad and we can try to resolve it.
9 times out of 10, if I'm mad about something, you know what I'm mad about. I kind of figure it out.
As he said, 9 times out of 10, we're not mad, but we get mad because you keep telling us we're mad.
Yeah.
Oh my
God.
We get mad to make you happy. Okay, I'm mad. You happy now?
Yeah. Yeah, because you keep asking me. I'm like, I wasn't mad, but now I'm mad because.
But what are you? What are you calling that when you shut down? When you're acting differently, there's something. So what are you?
I just said term. And somebody whoever said it best started this term. I think it's awesome. Just feeling some kind of way about something. I'm not really mad. I'm just some kind of way about it. And it's best we just let it be.
That's just be quiet and let her vent. And when she finished venting, she done cool off and everything, we go back to living our life.
Let's see. What did Deborah say? We do the silent treatment. Yeah. And I do the silent treatment sometimes as well. But the thing is,
stop it.
What?
Since when do the woman do the silent treatment?
Well, I do the silent treatment. I do the silent treatment. Oh, I don't ever do the silent treatment.
After
she done made a point 100 times.
She done got tired of hearing herself.
That's it.
Oh my goodness. No, there are times when you ask me what's wrong and I'm just like, nothing, I'm fine.
It's okay. So how do you get away with that and I can't?
No, because I will eventually come back to it. You'll never say anything, because when I do the silent treatment, for me, it's usually because I do want to process it. I want to come to you correct. I want to make sure that I'm communicating effectively when I come to you and I'm not speaking out of emotion. And so I'm just waiting, but eventually I'm going to say something. When you do the silent treatment, you're just going to all of a sudden act back to normal, but never even tell me what was bothering you in the first place. And then when I say, oh, well, you're back to yourself. What was wrong with you? There was nothing ever wrong with me. Well, that's not true.
I think men as a whole are good at compartmentalizing stuff and just shutting that door and moving on.
Right.
I think most men are like that. I know there are some men that have something else in them that make them want to blow up and be all emotional all the time, but that's just the way they deal with things. But the way I deal with things is, hey, if it's something I realize is, I put it like this. Not every battle is worth fighting.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta just let it ride.
Especially in the home.
Yeah, especially in the home.
So are y'all trying to say that whole happy wife, happy life?
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Right. So that's what I mean. So y'all need to express yourselves so that you're equally represented in the relationship, and we're, making sure that you're good as well. It's not just about us.
You say that and that sounds real good.
Yeah.
But that's not life. Because sometimes J3, sometimes you just gotta take that L and just move on. It's all right.
That's it. That's it.
I don't feel like this being I don't feel like this being a situation. So I'm just gonna say okay and just move on. And I'll bring it back up another day, or I deal with it if it comes back up again. But today ain't the day I want to deal with it.
Now,
go ahead, J3.
I'm gonna give an example. no pauses because this is not a pausable moment. But
I'm with you,
like I told my wife, me and my wife been married 37 years, 36 years, and
That's
she
beautiful.
find out I do not like wet meat. We've been married 36 years. She found out I don't like wet meat. But I've been cooking and I say again.
You talking about meat with a lot of sauce on it?
No, like I eat baked chicken, but I don't like the meat to be wet. You could put the chicken inside the crock pot. I don't like soggy meat.
Okay.
So, and
somebody
like I said, no pausable moments. We're talking
pause anyway. Janet gave you a pause.
I'll just let you clarify what you mean by that. That's all. Make it, bro.
But like I said, after 36 years, she finally realized I don't like meat that's wet. If it's fried, you could bake it, but the meat is kind of like charred and tight and stuff, I'm good. But
so
if it's soggy,
she would serve you something like that.
I just keep my mouth closed and pull the good meat from under it and keep going.
Okay.
But it took up 36 years.
Did you ever express that to her before? Hey, Carol.
No, because I learned to whatever she cooked, I just go ahead and eat. Because you women don't like it if we say something is not right that you cooked. I done been in here all day slaving on your stove, and you don't like this, and you don't like that, and da, 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 da. So I just learned to just eat it and be quiet. But
you know, J3, you say that. I'm going to share a little story with you. When we first started dating, Stay was cooking a meal for me. And I don't know where she got this that I like quesadillas. I'm not a big quesadilla fan, but
you told me you like.
But we've been married all this time. How many quesadillas have I asked you to order?
I ain't made no more since that day.
So she got in her head that I like quesadillas somehow. But anyway, she made some quesadillas for me. So I come over to her house and I'm sitting there eating the quesadillas. You know, I'm powering through it. I'll explain the rest of it in a minute. I'm powering through it. And I'm like, just thinking in my head, these are kind of different quesadillas. So I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to let it ride because I'm appreciative of what she did for me, okay?
Yeah.
So then she comes up and she goes, hey, why, what you think about the quesadillas? You want to talk? What did you say?
No, I said, how'd you like the quesadillas? And then you said, what kind of meat did you use in the quesadillas? And I said, ask me about anything except for the meat.
Yeah.
Because I was making him the quesadillas because he told me he liked quesadillas, but I was rushing that day. And so I didn't have time to cook the chicken from scratch. So I bought a rotisserie chicken at Sam's Club and used the rotisserie chicken meat in the quesadillas. And he was like, is this rotisserie chicken? And my little feelings was hurt because I made you what you like. And now you want to tell me you don't even like quesadillas and you really don't like quesadillas with rotisserie chicken.
I have no idea where she got that from. I really don't.
But yeah, and I like him to tell me what he likes and what he doesn't like. My issue with Wallace is things like that. Instead of him just telling me he doesn't like something, he'll start asking me questions. And so asking me the questions, then I know that means you don't like it. And I'd rather you just say you don't care for it. And it doesn't matter what it is. Like, even like with my hair, for instance, I'll do my hair a different way. And he'll ask me, oh, is that how you expected your hair to turn out? Like, what does that mean? Oh, I was just asking. No, dude, it means you don't like it. And I'd rather you say you don't like it. And so that's what'll cause an argument. And then he'll say I'm starting an argument for no reason. But I'm like, it's your line of questioning that's just going to, well, I never said I didn't like it. But why would you ask me? Is that how I was expecting it to turn out?
But if that's the way you put it, we come to realize it may not be the way that it should be, but that's what you want. So that's what it is.
Well, why did you ask?
J3, Stay plans out a lot of stuff. All right. She's very strategic in what she does. So her hairstyle, her look, and things like that, especially going to certain deals, she will look at pictures, try to put different outfits together, just trying to put stuff in her head. So when I see her really focusing on something and then it happens, I'll go, is that turn out like you wanted it to? And then she's like, oh, you don't like it? No, I'm asking you, is that what you expected?
Yeah.
No, it's the line of question. Let's see. Janet said, just stop. You were telling me that men compartmentalize and don't get emotions when that subject is brought up again. Right, because they don't compartmentalize. They hold on to it for a better opportunity to get us.
It depends on the intensity of when it's first brought up, Janet.
Now, I don't like you said that, Stace. We hold on to it. We hold on to it and bring it up at it. No. Mm-mm. You got that real man that loves his wife and all that. Once we're done, it's done.
Yeah.
We don't bring up what happened 2 years ago, 6 months ago, because you burnt up the kitchen because you thought you know how to make some quesadillas and all you had to do was just turn it over, but you start flipping it up and grease all on everything. No, we're not going to bring that back up to you.
I'm here to lift you up, not bring you down. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
But y'all think that we just bring up everything, because I do think that there's something good. That was going to be another part that I bring up. I think that a lot of arguments could be eliminated if we do bring up things in the moment. Talk about how you're feeling. Talk about what bothers you. Don't wait until you're arguing about something else to bring up all the other things. Like, I feel like it's productive to take care of things right in that moment. But I know in the beginning of our relationship, that made you feel like I just, had to say something about everything. But early on in the relationship, I thought that it made sense that every single thing that you did that might irritate me, I needed to nip that in the bud. But you felt like it was nitpicking. And I'm like, no, it's just like, why would I let this continue to fester when we can talk about it now, when you rather hold on and wait and see when we can just talk about it now?
Some stuff I feel you let it ride. I don't know what you feel about that, right. J3. Some stuff I feel like you let it ride. There's no use in bringing it up, because you bring it up. If you bring up everything, how do you make it through a day? Because I guarantee you throughout the day, there's multiple things that you could argue about or have a conversation about.
Right. Because there's 100 problems. You don't talk about 100 problems in one day. Mm-mm. Now, Stace, I'm gonna be serious with you. As a man and as a woman, the man he'll talk about things, but it's nothing that's gonna turn into 20 things. We'll talk about this one and we'll hit the other one, and that's it. But when the ladies bring up the conversation, sometimes the man got to scratch his head because we done went through 20 conversations in 15 minutes.
And you're trying to remember what you talked about when those conversations happened last year.
Right. No, and I get that. And so for men, I feel like it is better to prepare you all for the conversations, because I know one of the most dreaded.
Prepare.
Right. I know.
How can you prepare somebody for? How can you prepare a man for a conversation?
Well, because you can set up a time to actually talk about it. Because whenever you hit men with like, okay, we need to talk, and you want to have that conversation right then, usually they always put up a wall immediately because they feel like it's going to be something that they don't want to deal with. So the defenses go up. But if you set it up and just say, hey, there's some things I would like to talk to you about. It's not really a big deal, and we don't have to do it right now. It gives y'all time to mentally prepare so you're not automatically on the defense. So would y'all like to know ahead of time and schedule time? Because, we have our weekly meetings or whatever.
But if it was something from out of left field, and I'm still trying to figure out what is this? Of course, I'm gonna say, hey, hold up, what are we talking? What's going on? I'm gonna shut down. But y'all don't want to talk about it right then and there. So wouldn't you rather be prepared for it? Well, in those situations, my thing is, J3, or chat. I just want to say, I just ask, please explain to me what are we talking about so I can understand how we got here, so we can move forward. But
yeah,
it's just something out the blue, and I'm like, what is going on?
So what is the best way to approach it?
Say, hey, I need to talk to you about something.
And just talk about it right now.
Well, that's what we want to do. But then we get to a point where we say, hey, we just want to agree to disagree.
Let's see. Carol said we want it settled and worked out so it does not carry over, because our brains don't have that. that space. Yeah, we don't need one more unsolved issue. And then, hey, cousin Rhonda, how are
Carol,
you?
Carol, I'm sorry. Sometimes they just gonna be unresolved. Not everything, everything gets resolved.
But the point with that is it can be resolved and the man is happy, but 20 minutes later, I don't think you really answered my question. We done had the conversation, everything. Why should I answer anything? We done talked about it.
We good.
But a lot of times the way y'all answer it is by not answering it or just agreeing. And that's the thing too. I feel like in order for us to have productive arguments, both people need to be open and honest and don't just agree for the sake of moving on.
Well, one thing about that, you're talking about productive arguments stuff. Everybody's got to have an open mind, because you can't just be so dead set on your point of view on this that you not willing to open up and see what else someone is saying, because that's what ends up drying on, because I'm not going to change my mind. This is that. So it's not a productive argument, because if you're not willing to change your mind and listen to my point of view, it's not going to happen.
Is that our alarm system?
No, that's mine. That's mine.
Oh, that's you over there. I'm like, who is coming in our house? But yeah, I mean, we just want some kind of resolve, or at least an understanding, and not just that agree just because I don't want to hear your mouth anymore. So do you, can y'all agree that men do that sometimes? Y'all just say, oh, okay, I got it. And you don't really mean that, but really that just means shut up.
But we do mean it. We agree to keep peace in our home.
Right. But see,
we
agree with me if he really agrees with me.
Well, I think the word says something about be quick to agree.
Yes.
If you really agree. See?
Sometimes I'm going to agree so we can move on, because
that's it.
Not every battle, not every hill is worth dying on. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I'm good. If that's the way you feel about it, I'm good. Even though I feel my mind, my heart, I feel like that's not what I feel. But hey, in order for us to move on, all right, that's what you feel.
And like earlier in our marriage and stuff, our thing was, like I said, you ain't allowed to go to sleep angry or mad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't.
And I'm gonna get my sleep. I don't get much of it, so I'm gonna get my sleep. So I'm not going to bed.
Bad or not?
You gonna get yours, huh? I hear you, J3.
Right, and you see that false agreement feels like a lie to me, and that's the thing. We're moving on thinking everything's good, but y'all just lied.
Well, how do we even get to that point if it's a false agreement? We got to a point and say, hey, we're going to stay up all night trying to figure out who's, putting all the evidence and facts and stuff together.
No, and this is my thing. There's a difference in a false agreement or agreeing to disagree. I don't mind agreeing to disagree, because then I still know where you stand, you know where I stand, and we're just saying, okay, we're just going to have to function this way. But when you agree with me, then that makes me feel like we've really come to a meeting of the minds and we're on the same page. But the thing is, that same subject might come up at a later date, and now you're back on the other side. And I'm like, I thought we were on the same page with this, but really you just did it. So that false disagreement is just putting a Band-Aid on things. See, and I said, and I hadn't even read her comments. See, I was right.
I don't support it, but I would say happy wife, happy life, even though I know that's a lie, because both of us have to be happy in order to get along.
Right. Happy spouse, happy house. But I love the fact that Sandra said, for the love of peace, they agree. And one thing out of the many things that my grandmother taught me, I remember, people talk about peace and quiet, but just because you have quiet doesn't mean that you have peace. And so if you just decide to agree, just so it's quiet, just so you're not continuing to have that argument, that doesn't mean there's peace, because that means there's still something in you that's bothering you.
I'm at peace.
That's it. That's it.
Peace.
No.
Let's stop all this talking. You don't went in there, made me my dinner, and hey, it's good, this, that, and the other. Even if it wasn't good, baby, it was good.
Yes. What Deborah said?
Deborah said, most time we have unresolved issues, we just move on, and I win a few days later.
Well, that's kind of where it kind of goes. You know how if this is a hung jury or a mistrial or something, and the prosecutor says we'll just hold up until the more evidence, shows itself, and we'll bring it back up later. That's really kind of what happens sometimes in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I think I learned this from a wise man a long time ago. He said, if you know you're right, what else doesn't matter. You don't have to sit there and prove that, And sure enough, a couple days or a week or so go by, and it was like, I was right,
But then where is the progress? Because you should be
but if
building, because I depend on you to stick to your guns if you think I'm wrong, because I look to you as my leader, as my teacher, and to help for me to hold myself accountable. But if you let me just live in this false sense of I'm always right, all I got to do is wear you down.
Trust me, in that 20 minutes, and we've had a few of these, in that minute, I'll produce a compelling case as to why I feel the way I do. It don't take me long, because I'm gonna be straight to the point. I'm not gonna talk about a lot of stuff, because I like dealing with the issue right here, what we're talking about now. I'm not going to bring a lot of other stuff into it. Let's talk about what's going on right now. I'm going to hit you with a couple things. Boom, 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 boom. That's all I got. If I take an issue in that time frame of what I just laid out, what else am I going to do?
Okay, let's get to some of these comments. So Janet said you can agree to disagree, and that's honest, and you can figure out how to function through it. Absolutely. Janet and I are on the same page. Hubby can sleep through anything if it's his bedtime.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And I think that's most men. And that's another reason why you want to put a time frame on it, because you shouldn't get to that point. And I don't know how many arguments are getting started at 3:00 in the morning, but if you start something early enough in the day, you should be able to go to sleep without.
What's that, Al Green?
What's going on? Love and happiness.
Yeah, love and happiness. 3:00 in the morning.
Quiet could mean you're not speaking. That's the thing too. Sometimes, just because it's quiet don't mean there's peace. All right. We know you're stuffing it though too, and it will come out or back around somehow. That's what I believe, because you're suppressing your feelings just because you don't feel like dealing with it anymore. A compelling case.
Yes.
Wallace is always, he feels like he's an attorney. Time to eat dinner. Love you all. Love you too, Janet. Have a good
evening. Janet.
Enjoy your dinner.
Yeah,
don't
dinner.
give your man no wet meat, girl. They don't like that.
I'm with you on that, J3. The more I think about it, I like sauce. I don't like water and grease. I'm with you, J3. I ain't really thought about it like that.
That is funny.
Yeah,
that
I don't like
bottom of the crock pot.
They like that baked chicken, and they just have it sitting in that oil in there. Yeah, I don't like that either. You're right, J3.
And see, this is something too that I think about with men, and the reason why arguments can be productive if you all are really open to speak your mind and kind of hang in there and don't just concede. It gives us the opportunity to learn you as well.
Sandra hit something real good right here.
Let's see. Is there always a right or wrong? That's what I mean. There's not always a right or wrong. Exactly. And sometimes, but the thing is, you have to get to the point where you can realize that we're both right, or maybe we're both wrong, or maybe it was just a misunderstanding. But you have to work through that and have the conversation. And that's why I feel like you set your time frame, but both of you should be honest within that time frame and not just be like, okay, you're right. I feel like in that time frame that you have set for each other, you both need to speak your mind fully, unless you are able to come to an agreement before the time is up. Because it gives the other person something to think about.
What are your thoughts, J3?
There's not a right or wrong, but you discuss it, and as usual, the man said, okay. And 2 weeks later, when the situation come up, and she see that she was wrong, and the man don't say anything, he just say,
"That's me. That's me too."
That's me too. Because that's something else about being productive in your disagreements. There shouldn't be that I told you so. We shouldn't do that, because that's antagonizing. But, to just say,
I let the evidence speak for itself in those situations.
That's it.
But whoever was wrong should be able to come back and say, you know what, you were right about that. Like, but the other person
don't do that.
How many times do y'all ladies jump on that horse backwards?
What does that mean? That sounds like a pause.
Say I'm wrong.
Oh.
Hey.
I was like, wait a it.
Is that the transmission there, J3? Last week's conversation.
Hey, Jamie, how are you? How are you? I didn't know that phrase, so my mind went to something. Yeah, I started hearing that genuine. Okay.
You find out later that you got on the horse the wrong way, and then when you come back, yeah. I'm sorry. No.
I have really, babe, you're saying no, but I have really learned to apologize and admit when I was wrong. I find that it's beneficial.
You've grown in that area. You have.
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult for me early on, but I don't have a problem apologizing and saying that I was wrong. I really don't, because I want to be a forever learner. Like, this is my first true partnership. So it was a little difficult for me in the beginning, but through what I do and the things that I've learned about myself, I say all the time, I don't mind when I realize that I'm wrong, because now I see that as an opportunity for growth. And I don't mind giving him his credit, for lack of a better word, for being right, because I always want him to realize that I'm teachable as well. And so I want him to always feel open to challenge me. But again, it's something that I had to learn over time. But I'm at the point now where apologizing, admitting I was wrong, because I don't look at it as a loss. I learned something. Not a big deal.
You didn't apologize for my dropping my toothbrush the other day.
I don't know how your toothbrush fell, but anyway, Sandra said, "Well, knowing
did you get a new toothbrush,
bro?
It was brand new.
I got a brand new toothbrush. All right, we bought brand new toothbrushes together. I put a cap on mine, and I left it in the bathroom by my sink because I hadn't finished charging. I hadn't finished testing it out yet, checking it out.
Yeah, it was the new Sonic toothbrush.
So I leave and I come back and I go to grab my toothbrush. I know the top is missing. So I'm looking all around, and she just standing there at first. She's not saying nothing.
Well, because I didn't.
So I'm looking all around. She like, and I'm like, I know I put a top on this toothbrush. And then she said, what are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for the top that was on this toothbrush. She goes, I don't know no top. Maybe a top was on it when it fell on the floor. What? Why was my toothbrush on the floor?
But I honestly didn't know.
Hey, I know how you feel. I always put the cap back on my toothpaste, always. But for some reason, I get the one where you just flip it up. For some reason, you go back in, it's always open.
Some reason.
Well, y'all already know I admit that I'm the messy one.
And what Sandra say?
Sandra said, well, knowing that there is no right or wrong, it should be a short conversation.
It should be. That's why you can limit it when you break parameters on it for 20 minutes, because it should be a short conversation.
Look,
it should be something that goes over.
Riding that horse backwards. My cousin said things that make you say, Oh my goodness. Sometimes instead of admitting he's wrong, I get paid and money show up. And that's the thing too, the little subtle things, like men feel like bringing flowers home, or, let's go out to dinner tonight. And women will do that too, do something special. But it is important to hear those words, I apologize, you were right. And not because you necessarily want to feel like you won. It's just the fact that we need to know, and I think it works both ways, that you respect me and trust me enough to say that. And just doing a certain deed, I mean, that's nice. That's icing on the cake. But I feel like it is important to express that. And again, it's something that I had to learn over years. But I feel like when I apologize to him, and sometimes I apologize to him, and it's not necessarily that we even had an argument. I can just be in a bad mood, and maybe I was snappy or whatever, and he doesn't really even address it. And the fact that he didn't address it makes me even more compelled to say, babe, I know when you asked me such and such, I kind of cut you off. That wasn't about you, and I apologize. And I feel like he appreciates that, because even though he didn't say anything about it, he didn't deserve that snappy comment. He didn't deserve that eye roll. And so I apologize for that. What, J3? You don't believe me?
Bruh, as of this point right now, I want you, every time you hit a word, I apologize, just put a little hash mark. And at the end of 30 days, better yet, at the end of this week, let's see how much you apologize, how much she apologized. Hey.
No, and this is the thing. Wallace, if he wants to tell y'all the truth, he has a more difficult time than I do. I have to coax him to apologies. Wallace apologizes when he is tired of hearing me, and his apologies are not authentic because
that's what I get hit with.
He'll apologize, and then I ask him, "Why are you apologizing?" And then he'll say something crazy like, "I'm apologizing because I upset you." That's not an apology.
That is an apology for us. That is apology for us.
For my part in this situation, you know?
Yeah, my part in this situation. The whole thing was your part, brother. Carol said, right, I might get some kind of gift. Yeah, J3 is a hot mess. A hot mess. But
hey,
you need to be authentic, and you need to be able to explain why you're apologizing. If you just come,
see, there we go again. We were doing more explaining.
That's what 2-year-olds do. I'm sorry.
More explaining. See that we were explaining stuff in the very beginning, and now we're here. So now we had 3 hours on a conversation that should have just took a few minutes. You know,
you gotta explain why you sorry.
Yeah, what
because
is that?
That's important, because I need to know that you really are seeing things differently, or you really understand it. Because again, we don't want just the fluff. We don't want just the going through the motions.
But isn't that what you want in the beginning when we started all this? You want the apology?
That's it.
The apology with meaning, the apology with truth, the apology with understanding, not the apology to shut you up.
I tell you, most of the time through those situations in our early part of our marriages, I would apologize because trust me, I would be tuned out after about 10 minutes or so. I didn't tune out. I don't even know what we were talking about. So then it gets to a point, I'm like, all right, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Hey, sorry. Hey, darling, I'm sorry you burnt that chicken. I didn't want no chicken today anyway, but I'm sorry you burnt the chicken. We can go to KFC or whatever, but I'm sorry you burnt the chicken off. Okay. All right. Okay, darling.
Oh my goodness. We y'all are way more withholding of your emotions, withholding of your feelings.
And you know what? That what makes us a good husband too, because if you was a man that complained about everything your wife did, you burn up the rice, you burn up the beans, you burn up the chitlins, you burn this up, burn that. That marriage ain't gonna work. Sometimes you need to eat some burnt food. Yeah, a little char in your body is good.
Yeah, and you can't be a man the way I see it anyway. Let's put it that way. We got different definitions of men nowadays. But the way I see it, if your emotions blow every direction, every time the wind changes direction, that's your emotions going that way, you're not solid, you're not stable. You know, and you can't be a solid man if that's what's happening every time you look around and see, hey, I'm feeling this way today, or I'm feeling that way today. I got to talk about this. That's not being a solid man.
Hey, Amanda, thank you for being here.
You can't go to the four winds and call yourself the head of that family. Everything that affects the family can't affect you, because you'll be totally lost. So when a real situation comes, you be looking at the wife. You handle this. You the man of the house, but you handle it. You the man of the house. You're going back and forth. No.
Yeah, 2 o'clock in the morning, hearing something in the house. You tell your wife, you go check it out and let me know what that is, babe.
So let's talk about that.
Who that at the door?
What does being the man of the house mean to the two of you? What is the definition of being the man of the house, or how do you want your wife or your significant other to see being the man of the house?
I'll let J3 go if he wants to.
Well, okay, being the man of the house, I tell my wife straight off the bat, whatever got to do inside the house, you the boss. And I don't try to override what she does in the house, but if it need be that I need to step up, she knows how to step back.
Mm-hmm.
If there's something to be fixed in the house, I know I got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody walk up to my door, I know my wife shouldn't be the one answering that door.
Yeah.
Certain things you just know. A woman know her place and a man knows his place in the marriage, especially if you got a good marriage. You don't try to supersede each other. Unless her family is here, so you got to step back. And if my family's here, still got to step back. Hey, but it's just it's just knowing, as being a husband and wife, you have to know your place. Okay, this situation, I think my husband need to handle it. This situation, my wife. Good example concerning church stuff. If it's another woman, I would have my wife take care of it as well. But if it's something that's really church-wise or whatever, my wife would be in the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is.
Well, I just got a text comment that says that being the man of the house means taking out the trash, killing insects, and protecting us. That's what being a man of the house is to this particular individual. So, Wallace, and for me,
that got to be a single individual that wrote that.
No, this is a married. This is a married individual, eight years married individual who wrote that. But what does being a man of the house mean to you, or what do you want me to see you as?
See me as a protector, a provider, stabilizer, anchor. See me as just that one that's going to make sure things are taken care of, whether it's inside the house, outside the house, if something needs to be done. I'm the one that's going to provide for it. Make sure the lights are always on, the internet's working. If something goes down, that's my job. That's what I do. I want to be looked at as that. I don't want to be looked at as the one who calling somebody. I got to call somebody over to do this. I got to call somebody to do this. Do that. A lot of stuff I prefer to do myself because that's just the way I was raised. As
Okay, so I have a question when it comes to that. There are people that I've known in my life who have, men who have been, the man of the house, and they are that provider. They, they have their job. They make sure there's food on the table. They make sure that the utilities are on. Nobody's wanting for anything, but they may not have that handyman part of them where they're not able to fix the things in the house. They don't know how to unclog the sink. They don't know how to do certain things. But if something happens, it's not left to the wife. They pay for somebody to come make sure it's taken care of. Is that still considered the man of the house? Or
you're not because you're still taking care of it. I'm not going to tell you to call the repairman. I'm going to be the one to call the repairman to come back because generally I'm going to try and schedule around my schedule when he comes to my house.
Yeah, let's see. Carol says, I prefer fixing things, though he ends up getting frustrated and hiring someone. If we both can't fix it, then hiring is fine. I am the handy one in the house with something he can fix. With some things I can fix others. Now that's another question. And I know we kind of talked about this the other morning. What is being the man of the house and having a productive relationship? Should there be gender specific roles where the men, or should it be whoever is better at whatever? Or does it, because what if the wife is the more handy person? What if the wife is the one who, went to mechanic school and likes to do that kind of stuff, and the husband is a chef and he went to culinary arts school, and so he's the one who prepares the meals and she's the one who takes care of the car? Can he still be the man of the house?
Well, I'll put it to you like this. This is the way I just feel about it, J3. And let me say this real quick. The only reason we're together because I know how to fix a dryer, right?
That's what, because I never had experienced that before. I was just like, what? I really thought when he said he was going to come over.
The heat element went out in the dryer, and I knew how to, and I said, hey, this was wrong.
Yeah, I thought he was just trying to get to my house, because I'm like, how to fix the dryer. And he's like, well, I can't guarantee that I can fix it, but from what you're telling me, I think it's the heating element and whatever. And when he came over and I didn't have to buy a new dryer, because that's what I was going to do, is go buy a new dryer. And he was like, well, why don't you let me come look at it? And I was like, okay,
my dad was
just trying to come over here.
My dad was
that was his way in. That was his way in.
Right.
Yeah, he was an appliance and AC repairman for 30-some years. So that's how I was raised doing. I know he had his own business. So that's what I did when I was younger.
But I just knew he was going to come over and tinker with it a little bit and be like, yeah, I can't fix it, and I thought, you just wanted to come over here. But no, it was ready, and it lasts me. Shoot, I didn't get a new dryer until we got married and bought all new stuff. Yeah, so it lasted. But, what do you think about the gender roles?
Oh, there we go.
If a man is the one who's more of a homekeeper, he's the culinary one, he's more into that, and the woman does the things that was considered man duties, can he still be the man of the house?
That's my son.
The way I feel about it is, there is not specific gender roles unless that's what you want it to be. I think it all depends on that conversation because, if I'm better with finances than you are with finances, it's better, I take the finances than both of us be sitting here with the lights out, right. And all the bills are due. So it's just the way we do things. If you're better, if the woman's better with the finances, then let her do it. So it just certain things I think just falls on who's better at doing that. If you have someone like, I know I have a cousin who was raised up, she loves mowing the yards. And her husband just told her, just make sure if anybody asks you why you mowing the yard, you tell them that you mowing the yard. She's the one, she fixes the lawnmower. She'll go out and she bought her a brand new ride lawnmower. She does all it because she loves working outdoors. And so her husband just said, just make sure you tell him I want that this is what you love doing. But if that's what you love doing, it's what you love doing.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
Right.
Now, this is what, as far as, go ahead. What did you have to say, J3? Oh,
me personally, I wouldn't tell my wife to do anything in here. All the light fixtures in this house, well, actually, all of them, I done changed them out. The electricity and stuff in here, I've done that. This garbage is supposed to go bad. I've done that. They even put new toilets in here. But the point to it is, growing up, I had some good people in my life that actually showed me how to do things. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't ask my wife to do anything in the house knowing that it may not get done. I very seldom call somebody here to fix something other than when it's the AC system. And my wife, she looks at, if something go wrong, she gonna look at me and she look at me strange. Then she said, yeah, there's no water coming through the sink. I go check it. The city turned the water off. But I very seldom call anybody to come do anything in here.
Yeah.
And like my wife, when I was in the military, I would tell my wife not to cut the grass because that was my exercise when I get from work. I would cut the grass. I had a push lawnmower with blades. And when I come home, I look, the grass is cut. And she said, I just wanted to do it. Okay. I said, I use that to do my exercise, right? I just wanted to do it. Okay, fine. But now, do she go out in that garden out there? She don't do that.
That's not a thing, yeah.
Yeah. Now, and I realized with us, let's see. Well, let me read these real quick. Carol said, my dad was an engineer, small engine specialist, and handyman. I followed and learned as much as I could from him. Right. Hubby did not have that, but he can fix sprinklers though and snake a toilet. So y'all just balancing each other out. My cousin said Google is her man. And that's the thing. That's how I was before I met Wallace. I YouTubed everything. And, if I had to do something, I figured it out. Carol be doing a lot of work. She said she did the light fixtures, faucet, tile inlays, molding, and lots of the painting. Oh my gosh. Hubby loves cutting the grass. I give him that unless his back is out. And that's the thing. You just have to learn to balance each other out. And for me, I was very independent when I met Wallace, but I did a lot of things because I had to. I didn't have a choice and I couldn't always afford to hire somebody. So I got on Google, I got on YouTube. But it was great when I met him that he would do those things. And so I loved turning them over to him. But then it also, on the other end, Wallace knows how to cook for himself. There's a lot of things, Wallace can do for himself, but I think he appreciated when we got together, then he didn't have to worry about that. So just like I maybe only take the trash out twice a year because maybe he's just, not here or whatever the case is, he probably only cooks twice a year, but that's what works for us. And so I think it's about, just what works for you and not necessarily looking at things that are gender specific, because no matter whether he was doing the cooking or whether he's fixing the plumbing, it's still, he is the man of the house. And I think it's the same when it comes to finances. And I just think that men feel that, because one thing, and y'all let me know if I'm wrong, but it's a big thing for y'all to feel needed. And so even if we can do things for ourselves, that's not really what you want us doing.
That's fair. That's a need everybody has, though. They want to feel needed. You want to feel like someone you. You know, that's the whole existence of mankind. You want to feel like you need it. So if you feel like you're not needed, then, you know, you just wandering around, bump your head like, what am I good for?
Okay, so that brings me back to these arguments then. If I mean, without the topic,
and that's what it does right there, because we were talking about something else. Now you want to go back to the argument.
Well, I want to go back.
Bro, I feel for you. I feel for you, bro.
No, if the argument is about something like that, like say I start mowing the lawn and you feel like that's something that that you should be doing or you want to do, and then I'm busy saying, well, I really want to mow the lawn. So are you just going to let me win that argument, and you know that that's making you feel some kind of way? No, you have to speak your mind.
But why I don't want to argue about it? It's something, if you know it's something that I get great joy out of doing. All right. If you know it's something I get great joy, why would you go and upset the balance on that?
Well, I'm talking about if it's early on. I'm not, because if I do it knowing you want to do it or whatever, but you know, you're saying that y'all just concede to keep the peace. No, you need to speak your mind.
That's not an argument. That's just a conversation. Am I right, J3? That's just a conversation if it's early on in a relationship. Now, the argument becomes if all of a sudden you mad at me one day after we've been together, 15, 20 years or so, and that's what I like doing. And now all of a sudden you out there doing it, or you didn't hire somebody to come out there and do it to take that away from me. Now it's something, and I'm like, all right, then that's what you feel. Okay. So so we're doing that now. Okay.
Especially when I'm the only one that cut the grass and the lawnmower is set for me. It's set on number 3, but you get on there and you want to put it on number 1 and cut the grass down to the dirt. It's a slight conversation there.
Yeah.
Is that a similar conversation to the way I park in the garage?
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah. Lord. She had to bring that up.
Oh my goodness. Well, he let me know the other day that that's just like one of the things, because I always want to have the conversations with him. Not always, but every once in a while, just to check in and see, if there's anything where I can improve, where I can make his life easier and vice versa. Well, of course, I'm going to be honest with him and tell him what the things are. But to me, he comes to me with the things that are so like petty. And one of his things were that he wished I would pay more attention when I pull into the garage and leave him enough room, because he can barely get out of his truck and he has to get out and move my car and repark both. And I feel like, is that really something that you want to discuss? And I feel like that's petty.
How many times should I discuss that, J3? If I brought it up multiple times and it keeps happening.
But you must
let me get with you on that, bro. I can park 4 cars side by side in my driveway. 4 cars can go side by side. I got a truck. She drives a little car. But why should you put a little car in 2 big slots and I got to weave in and out with a big truck?
We're doing the best we can.
I go.
I mean, do you believe that we come home and say, you know what, I'm gonna just put this car here to piss him off? Or do you think I don't care where I put my car, he get in where he get in?
That part right there. No, and
that's what I mean. We get as women, we get the bad right. Why would I do that? Why would I do that?
You said I'm the queen of this house, and I put my car wherever I want to put it.
I don't know.
Because the comment was J3, why I lean more toward what you're saying.
There's that look.
Because the comment comes, you could just come get the key and move the car. Why would I have to do that if you just, when you pulled in, pull it the way I showed you, and you have plenty of room, you won't even have to do too much. Just pull it in the way I showed you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Clearly, I thought about that. Every time I pull into the garage, well, I won't say every time, but 90% of the time when I pull into the garage, I'm thinking, I hope I park this car in a place where it is going to be convenient for him to get in and out of the truck. I really am thinking that. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But I also have to make sure that I'm protecting my car. I don't want to scrape it on the side of the garage. So I think that protecting my car is more important than making sure you can get in and out. I don't want to scrape my car over Kristen.
Wallace, it's your fault. It's your fault. You should have had a big old red line in the garage right
Oh,
there.
no.
You should have had a big line right there. This is your side.
I have marked for her.
He has a mark.
This is
Supposed to start. He has a speed bump in the garage. Yeah,
how far she needs to come forward. I have all of that in place, J3. All those were subtle hints.
Well, I got a text message comment once again that says the resolution is to just give us the cars and y'all just drive motorcycles.
No, that's not.
Y'all just walk.
My motorcycle days was over in the 80s.
You're never late, she. Let's see. Carol says you line it up over her steering wheel.
Oh, the tennis ball.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that's not it. It's the distance between the cars, not how far she comes forward.
Hey, best friend.
It's the distance between the cars.
So I think some women just want to. I think at times when they're driving, they say, "Oh, I can drive." Just pull on in, and that's it.
J3,
well,
I'm
something like a getaway.
I'm gonna tell you what it is, J3. Really, what it is. They rush in to get to the bathroom.
That too.
So they just want to pull in and put that joker in park and run in the house, so they're not paying attention to nothing.
Oh my God. So is it really? I mean, do men think that we are that childlike? Is that what it is?
At times, yes.
Because you and I had this conversation before. I said you just do.
But that's not because I'm a woman. That's just my overall personality. But I don't think it's because I'm a woman.
No, not necessarily because you're a woman. I'm just speaking of how things are. Because I try to calculate. I try to plan out. I always realize that everything I do, there's a consequence to it or something's going to happen. There's a cause and effect. And I don't think a lot of times certain people, not always women, some men, but some people don't always think like that. They just, right. I'm in the do moment. That I'm not worried about the effect. I'm just doing.
See, that's a good husband because he have to think for himself and you.
Okay, and so that is an argument that we have too.
Yes.
We just had this disagreement the other day when we were out doing our morning walk,
and it comes back.
Well, no, he already is aware. I'm just catching y'all up. I'm just telling y'all a story. So he already knows how I felt about this. We had the conversation, but I'm just catching y'all up to this. And it's so funny. My blog that's coming out, this is in the blog, but this part I had to edit out of the blog. But now I'm telling y'all, I don't feel as though he has to, like, y'all think that we are childlike and y'all think that y'all have to parent us. But it's not the case, especially with Wallace and I did not get together until I was 38, 39, 40 years old, somewhere around, like, you know, it's all real foggy because y'all know we met and we're friends first or whatever. But it was somewhere in that couple of years. But I was grown. I had just about finished raising 3 children. I had had successful businesses. I had done my thing in corporate America. I was what I felt like a grown adult, mature woman. For some reason, he feels like I was able to accomplish all of those things just by the grace of God and God looking out for babies and fools, as my grandmother said. And so he feels like he needs to parent me. So let's go back to our walk the other day. We are on a walk. Now, I was vlogging while we were walking, and whenever I'm going to be vlogging and there's children around, I try my best to not really get kids on the camera, and I try to avoid that. And so I see the kids walking across, and so they're walking across in front of me, and Wallace is telling me, the first time I didn't mind. He's just like, babe, you know, the kids or whatever, I don't want you to walk into them. And I said, oh yeah, I was already aware and I didn't want to get them on camera anyway. And so we proceed to walk a few more steps. In Wallace's mind, I had walked too many steps and now I'm going to run into these kids. But I had already decided when I was going to stop because there was a car there. So I'm like, as soon as I get to the front of this car, I'm just going to stop and let them pass. But I take a few more steps and he's like, babe, the kids. Dude, I saw the kids. I'm not going to walk into the kids. I'm not going to walk through the kids. Like, you already mentioned it to me once, but he felt as though he needed to tell me that. But then he's offended when I'm like, why are you trying to parent me? And that's when I think sometimes you all take your role as head of the household as to also meaning parent of the household. And there's a difference. I don't need you to tell me for the second time in 15 seconds that I don't need to keep walking. And I think y'all get that confused.
J3, what happened was,
see, husband, daddy. That's what I'm talking about. No, that's not what I need.
You're right.
That's not what I need.
You're right on, bro. That's why I tell you and me one and the same, bro.
Yes.
But sometimes we do have to be husband daddies.
No.
The first part of that, when she was walking toward him, she has a phone up in front of her. All right. There was only like 3 or 4 kids walking. As she continued, now all of a sudden, there is the football team up here at the school, the high school. Now, all of a sudden, she's continued walking. Now it's like 60 kids come across this parking lot. They're not walking that same line that they were walking when she first started filming. Now they're coming more toward us because of our positioning has changed. So I'm trying to tell her, hey, you're finna be engulfed in kids. Let's hold up right here.
I already know that, bruh.
No, you didn't.
Okay, well, look at this one. That can really mess up sex if hubby treats you like a child and takes that daddy position. A friend told me that. Well, I thought some of them call a man daddy, which I ain't doing that. I barely call my daddy. I know I ain't calling him daddy. Age, you know what? Any comments y'all see?
That's between you two. What y'all do in the other room, that's y'all. So if you call him daddy, he just gonna
no, none of that. None of that. We ignore all of Adrian's comments. She always agrees with Wallace. Delete. We hear, but that's not the sexy version she talking about. Right. Yeah, no. That's the thing. But then he gets upset with me and feels like I just don't want to take his guidance. And it's not true. I just need you to realize that I too have a brain.
Let me share this real quick with you about the protect mode thing. One of our first trips out the country, all right, we was down in Mexico. We was at this resort in Mexico called Occidental. All right. Stay is over there trying to get pictures of a deer on this fence, trying to get pictures of a deer. All right. She's peering over into this little pen area, trying to get pictures of this deer. I noticed out of the side of my eye, just about 6 feet from her, there is a lemur walking toward her. So I'm saying, stay, come on. Trying not to alarm her. I'm saying, stay, come on. She goes, oh, I'm just trying to get this picture. Stay, come on. And I'm just trying to get this picture. So I said, hey, come on, there's something coming. And she goes, say, why you didn't tell me something was coming? I'm sitting there telling you to come on.
I need you to
what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. That was something I didn't see. I saw them kids. And so I just think there needs to be that balance of, protection mode. But I do think, too, a lot of our disagreements and things could be better if y'all learn how to use tone. And J3, let me know how you feel about this. Do you feel like tone matters? Your tone of voice matters?
If I raise my voice, we got a real problem.
Well, not even raising your voice, like talking in a condescending tone.
That's the tone.
No, sometimes when you say things and it sounds like it can end in idiot, come on, stupid. It's that condescending tone. What do you think about that? Not just the raising of the voice, just how you say things. Do you think how you say things matters, or it just matters what you say?
Well, now, my wife, she does say, well, it was the way you said it. I say it was the way you heard it.
Oh, okay. We got that. We got another expert.
We family, Jay.
Got another expert coming to the stage. Another expert coming to the stage.
I'm from 5 minutes down the road from you, bro.
That's it.
My family kid.
The eye roll. They claim they don't roll their eyes. This one says he doesn't even know how to roll his eyes.
No, why am I rolling my eyes? I got a whole enough time seeing straight already. Why am I rolling?
That's it. All right,
she's gonna set us all straight. What you got, she? You gonna set them straight?
From what I just heard in this instance,
that is 5 minutes, bro. That is 5 minutes.
I need you to be on point when I need you to be on point. Because when he was trying to get you not get caught up by that lemur, you was like, "Oh, you should have told me. You should have helped me." But when he's about to get ready to hit them kids, I got this. So
because like I saw the kids, he had already brought the kids to my attention, and I had acknowledged, I see the kids, babe. I'm not going to do that. The lemur, all he's saying is come on, come on, come on. He ain't said like
I'm trying not to scare
like my
her.
girl Carol said, there's a creepy crawler on his way to you. He didn't. I'm thinking he's just saying, come on, he ready to go eat.
Why shouldn't she just come on?
And then that's the same instant when he said, watch them kids. And what are the football team or something? They all just start running. Then you up under the pile like, baby.
They were on their way to the school district up here feeds all the kids, the football teams and stuff.
They got a food truck.
So they were on their way to a food truck.
So you know they're gonna run that way. So hey,
They were paying attention to her.
But again, it's how you say it. And I do believe that tone matters. And I think that those are things that we should be able to discuss, because whether you feel like you have a tone, whether you feel like you said it condescending, whether you feel like you rolled your eyes or you feel like you were yelling, if your significant other or spouse is saying that's the way they received it, then it still is cause for you to check yourself and try to do it differently in order to be able to communicate effectively.
But she didn't have a conversation though.
hey,
Sometimes you just gotta hold their hand while you yell at them. I said,
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And then give us a piece of candy. No.
yeah.
it's
That's not how it works.
it's like this. The husband, he's always gonna, you and the husband together. The husband always gonna have that. He's gonna have that third eye just looking around. He's gonna be aware of everything because, as I say, you doing a vlog or whatever. I try to make sure I'm aware of my whole surroundings, especially when I got my wife with me. But now, one thing I told my wife is, if we in Walmart or whatever, and you get in an argument with somebody, don't ever say I'm your husband. Don't even look my way. You can look and see me out the side of your eye, but do not say nothing. Don't recognize me as being your husband, because I'm gonna handle it.
Yeah. Element of surprise.
That's it.
That's it.
And I wanted to throw this in there too.
I had to back off of. Go ahead, Sheep.
I was gonna throw that in too. You know, my wife, it's a joke. She do call me daddy, and I call her mommy. But we just play like that because of our son. When our twins were young, we just she thought it was so cute that her one of my twins used to be like, "Daddy, mommy," and so every time we call each other, we'll be, say that as a joke, and we laugh every time my wife called me. She'd be like, "Hi, daddy," and start giggling. And so we just always think it's so funny. One time, my aunt, she was in it. I had it on speaker, and I was like, "Hey, Shelly." And she was like, "Hey, daddy." My aunt was like, "What type of freaky stuff y'all got going on in y'all house?"
That's just not my thing. And so I think Jamie has said, I only called my husband daddy because my husband and son's name were the same. And I get that. It's not my thing. But yeah, but I mean, I know a lot of people who do that. It's not my thing.
My wife don't call me daddy, and there was 4 people in the house with the same name.
Really? Really? Yeah, it just depends. To each his own. It's just never been my thing, but I definitely don't need to be raised. Yeah, that's my only thing. That's my only thing. And then he'll say, "Well, you correct me too." And that's what I'm saying. It's just about the tone. And I just think that sometimes as men, as much as y'all don't like to have the conversations and you're not as emotional, the times when you do talk, you should probably think about the presentation before you say it. And if y'all talk more, maybe you would be in more practice and things wouldn't come out so rough and gruff as they do.
Too much talking ain't good for you. It make your mouth dry.
We were walking that same area a day later, all right? There's a big 18-wheeler coming out the parking lot because they're redoing the whole football field. And I said, "Hey, babe, come on." She started walking. "Babe, come on." "I see it." "Okay, all right now." When them trucks come up here and bump you, no.
It's just
baby.
Did you see it or did you feel it?
But I've been used to looking out for myself for a long time, but I also did not fight to keep those things. Just like when we go out to eat or whatever, I was always the one who felt like I needed to sit facing the door because I need to see if anything is coming in here that ain't right. I need to keep my head on a swivel. I'm either out with my girlfriends or I'm out with my kids. And that was my thing. Well, when I met Wallace, and I used to go sit on that side, he's like, look, you either got to let me sit over here or we both going to sit over here. And I'm like, well, I need to be facing the door. And he's like, no, I need to be facing the door. And I did over time. I was able to entrust him with those things. And so I do trust him to look out for me. But I just feel like a lot of times with y'all, it's the presentation and you're not able to shut off the fact that, like you're not talking to a kid, you're talking to your partner.
That goes back to what J3 said, is how you heard it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not true. I feel like
two real men just agree with me. See that?
No, a lot
emotions make you cry sometimes.
Oh my
you
God.
get in the way of feelings. It's feelings. See, that's the number one thing with women. If we kind of lock in on the feelings, just tell me your feelings, and I'm not gonna say it different. I'm just gonna help you control it a little better your feelings.
So that's where I try to raise my son too. Same way.
Right.
Raise your son to do what?
To be a man.
Right. And being a man is also being able to be in touch with your emotions and feelings and being able to understand other people's emotions.
You be in touch with your emotion on your time, not family and wife time. You touch your emotions on your time.
But don't you think that's why a lot of men find themselves super stressed out because they're trying to deal with everything on their own instead of being able to share those freely and vulnerably?
No.
Some things you don't share with the wife or the family. You're taking care of the family, but some things you don't share with them. And some things you
feel
do.
like that goes both ways. There's some things that women should share as well. See, that's what I mean.
You should be telling everything. The man shouldn't.
No, that's not true because we're a team. And so we're here to support each other. But I may be your answer. I may be your resolution to whatever it is. And you trying to, work it out on your own.
Because this is what happens with men. And a lot of us, how we were raised as a traditional, we talk about being a man or whatnot. When we share things, especially when we share things with you guys, when we're to get at that point, we're really at a super, super vulnerable state if we're coming to you with all our emotions and stuff like that. And the thing about it is when I share this stuff with you, I don't need to hear it come back at a later date to me. Because I was really at because it must have really been something that got me to get me to that point where I'm sharing those type things with you. Because most men don't automatically or naturally share those things. So that's what men are scared of in some of the situations why they don't share, because I don't want to hear this. But that's
what I mean. But if you're with the right partner who understands you and is not,
some men don't want to take that chance though.
Let's see. Jamie has said, my parents called each other mommy and daddy because my older sister is deaf and I only heard them call each other by their first name. So I was calling them by their first name. So I get that. I called my dad by his first name for a while. Just like men walk on the outside. Yes, men should definitely walk on the outside. I agree with that. Yes. We women read way more than words. No, we just read way more than words. We read your tone. We read your body language.
No, you don't. If you would read the body language, you would understand what we said before conversation come.
Yeah. What? If they read body language, they'd be able to let stuff go when it's like, all right, I'm good.
That's it.
Yeah. Let's see.
You okay?
Comment. The text comment says, I disagree. Both men and women should be able to express how they are feeling. If men could possibly explode and do something that they will regret to their significant other or themselves. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Men keep too many things bottled up. And I think that's what causes a lot of.
That's what has galvanized us and make us strong.
It doesn't at all. And what does strong even mean?
You don't want to be perceived as weak. A man does not want to be perceived as weak. He can't.
So being strong means taking as much as I can until I eventually explode. Like that's not
it manifests itself into a health condition. That's where it goes.
We are supermen, and that woman is that kryptonite.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. So that thing with Superwoman, you're really the kryptonite.
Why is that?
Because we are the man and we have to be strong to raise your family and do what's right you have to be strong.
But we're a
even
team.
I would say
Again,
this too, even with just being a man in general, having a family or not, you have to set a standard for yourself in which most people can't view. You know, I have to be strong when strong is not needed. And then when strong is needed, I still have to get that more gumption to fulfill that strength where I don't have it. You know how many people, well, just preferably more or less what men have done things they know they possibly couldn't do, but they had no other choice. And you know, even with dealing with your significant other, you might have the perfect mate, the perfect spouse, or whatever, but when it comes down to it, there are certain things women are just not going to relate to. You know, my wife, she tells me all the time when I work a lot, she said, "Well, I don't know why you do it or how you do it." I said, "Well, the lights stay on. You know, there are certain things I want to accomplish before a certain age. I always tell people I want to retire early, so that's why I'm grinding now to relax when I'm older. Cause now I got all this energy, I got more strength, I can do it now." She don't understand that, but when it comes to most men, you will tell them, they say, "Well, I understand. You young, get your money now."
yeah.
Right. And but there are times when I feel like, you have your goals and you have the different things that you want to accomplish by a certain age, but there's also that quality time that your family needs just as much as they need that financial stability. And sometimes, it seems like men feel like I'm working, I'm providing, I'm doing all of this to make sure that we're stable and we have a good future. But sometimes your family just wants you to be home and they may be willing to do without certain things at certain times in order to have that quality time with you as well.
Yeah.
Let me give you a little example. I retired in 2013. They retired me on January 1st, 2013. I had surgery on my foot April 2012. I worked for the prison system for 22 years. Tell me how much time I spent with my family when I got a check for 9 months. No deduction, no nothing. I got my check just like I was working, but I was out of work for 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
So out of them 22 years, how much time you think I spent with my family?
Not much.
Not much at all. I only took leave one time out of
And do
22
you
years.
think that your family, I'm sure they appreciated the sacrifice and what you did, but do you think that they would have benefited or like to have had more time with you?
Well, they saw me on my off day. When you get 3 days off, they saw me on my off days. Family went fishing. We had fun, and I spanked them and everything like usual. It's just that there was no excess time. There was no excess time.
Yeah.
Right. And I just think that, men just need to realize that we appreciate your time as well. We love the fact that you provide for us and that you sacrifice, but we also appreciate you beyond those things and like to spend that quality time. And you don't have to always put all that pressure on yourself to just do. We want you to take a break sometimes because we want you around.
But the man wants certain things for his family. And as she said, since we were so young back then, I wanted to get it all done. I retired at 51. Am I content being retired? Sometime I jump up and think I got to go to work and there's no job.
Mm-hmm.
But I think all that time I put in to take care of my family and put them through school and all that stuff, I think it was well worth it.
Yeah. You did what you had to do.
That's it.
Yeah, and I definitely agree. I just feel like, we can be more of a helpmate because sometimes when I hear men talk, not that I don't necessarily think they appreciate their wives, but sometimes it feels like we're more of a burden and just someone else to take care of and look out for and to make sure is okay, and not as someone who can actually be a strong support system, which I believe that's what it is. We both have our roles, we both have our place, but we shouldn't just be another dependent and somebody else I'm just doing this for. We're a team. Okay, Carol said, I think men worry way more than they feel they can express because they were taught to suck it up, and we as women were allowed to express our worries way more. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it's not always healthy. And so I feel like when you have that person that you trust as your partner, you should be able to share those things, because again, you never know. I might be able to be the resolution to whatever it is that you're worried about, but you're not sharing it.
You got to share in certain spaces. Certain conversations would dictate what you're sharing. That's what you always got to remember in that. Because you do want to be the man. You want to provide for your family, because we all have our dreams and aspirations of things we want to do to provide for our families, or how we want to be perceived for us. Like right now, we're at 52 years old. My whole focus right now is legacy. What type of legacy am I going to leave behind? So a lot of my focus is on right now, especially how am I providing for my family through the years? How am I providing for my family? What am I setting up for my family? How are you going to be taken care of? So a lot of men think about a lot of stuff. Yeah, we do think about a lot of stuff, but we do kind of keep it in, because a lot of that stuff, we don't really know how to express it or who to express it to, because it's what drives us.
And sometimes we can't express it because you will throw a curveball in what we're thinking and planning.
Well, I know for me, because it's something that Wallace definitely struggles with all the time, is, what he wants to accomplish at a certain age and the legacy he wants to leave behind. And I have to let him know that I have the same concerns. So he's not in it alone. So let's work through it together, because I want to leave a legacy as well. I want to make sure that we're in a certain position as well. And so I think that that's worked well for us, where because he's had to do some changing in how he communicates, and he shares those things with me more. Or when I do approach him and ask him, are you concerned about this, or what are you thinking about? He does share it with me a little bit more. And I hope that it's been a help when I'm like, you know what, I'm concerned about the same things, but we got this. It's not just on you. And just, y'all know a little bit of our story where, he just recently retired a year ago to join me in the business full time. And a part of me feels like our success or failure is more riding on me, because he had a successful career. And so he trusted me to have the business at a certain point that he could join me and we would be okay. So we're definitely both in this thing. It's not up to him as to how well it goes. It's up to both of us. And I think that that's what men really need to see, is that when you're with the right person, you're a team, and you don't have to take all of that on yourself. I have another text comment, and then we're going to get to Jamia. The text says, if you keep putting your work over your family because you want to retire early, you could possibly lose them if you're not able to find a positive balance. And yeah, that is key, because people do appreciate quality time. And Jamia said, my question is, do you fellas feel like your wife is your safe place? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes.
Well, how is she a safe place if you don't want to share anything?
No, you don't have to share everything to have a safe place.
Okay, explain.
Now, good example, the struggle of this life. We're out there outside this door. We're dealing with so many different peoples, and a lot of circumstances come up. But when you get home, just to see you have a wife, how you doing, darling? Oh, you sweating hard. It must have been rough out there. That didn't say, tell me your whole life. But the point to it is, you're there just to listen to that portion that they want to tell you. There was 20 things that happened, but only 2 I need to reveal. And that's it. That's that safe place.
So what creates a safe place for you, Sheed?
Creating a safe place for me is, more or less the communication with my wife. Me and her, we got good communication to where I can actually come to her and talk about things, and it's not really more of a judge, but I kind of critique her on opening up as well. At times my wife would try to help me with as much stuff as she can, or she try to help a lot of people. But then I tell her, I say, I notice you try to be the help and provide for me and a lot of people, but what about you? There's sometimes you got to open up your concern to, be this perfect or some type of individual that can do so much for everybody else. I'm like, what about you? What about your mental health? So there's a lot of times where I have to force her to open up. Sometimes I tell her, I say, well, if you don't open up and I see there's a problem, I'll let you go through the fire and get burnt just to, show that, hey, I'm here, but because you don't, be there with me or talk to me more, you're gonna go through these processes alone unless you open up. Because more or less, it's like I try to force my wife to open up more because she does that with me a lot. Oh, I see you working a lot. Everything's okay. Your health's in order. You're taking vitamins, this and that. And when I kind of do the same with her, she's kind of like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
like, say, talk more. That you're porking me. Why when I try to do the same thing with you, like you shut off.
Yeah.
But even when it comes down to like having that safe space with your family by working so much, it's a balance.
It
I do
is.
that a lot, because my thing, I actually took a job local to get paid less. But the thing of it is, I'm more home with my boys than people would think. Just because I like work a lot of jobs or do a lot of stuff, I spend so much time with them. Like when this weekend for Father's Day, I went to work. I had them come with me. I said, "Hey man, hey y'all gonna earn your stripes today."
See,
And on
that's
top
what
of
I
that, it's
say. I
Daddy
was
Day.
gonna tell the truth. She don't really be spending time with them boys. He be getting that cheap child labor.
Hey, hey, we're gonna say both of them, but hey, but it's funny because when my twins were real young, everybody was like, no, they knew my twins because I would take them everywhere. When I went to tailgating, I would take them to tailgate, and they'd be like, "Whoo, them boys getting a mouthful out here." But it wasn't wild like the tailgate crew I was with. They wasn't wild, but they were drinking. My sons and them, they see people drinking, so it's not nothing new or normal or different from them. But the point of it was, I took them so many different places and did so much stuff for them that they respected. Now that they're older, they always try to go be around me and do stuff with me, and so that's why I kind of take them to work, and I'm just basically teaching them on like a trade because, like I explained to them, I was like, even though you might want to be a doctor, lawyer, whatever your career major, you'll still have some type of trade to fall back on because you're good with your hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's big
Yeah,
into
it's
that.
bigger than that. But I'm fortunate for is my deal. I know stay is my safe place. I feel like I can open up to her, and I do share a lot with her. And I'm glad that she's not one that throws it back in my face or anything like that when I go through certain deals. Because I'm trying to tell y'all, when we went to the point of me leaving corporate America and coming into this space, it was just a whole mindset shift. Because you're used to that check coming in every 2 weeks or that direct deposit hitting, and all of a sudden it's not hitting, although you're receiving money, but it's not coming in like you're used to seeing it. You may receive something this month, even though it's pretty fairly large, it may not be hitting for a few more months. So going through that and adjusting to life and how those things were, I had a lot of deals. I had a lot of things I had to share with her, and I was fortunate to be able to share that with her because me as a provider for so many years, you're just used to doing that. And now the script is kind of flipped, changed around on us. But yeah, she is my safe place. I'm very thankful for that. And but early on in my life, though, I worked a ton of hours and I didn't spend a lot of time with my oldest daughter. But as life kind of shifted. Put it like this, life happens. I did learn that I need to be spending more time with my kids and things like that. So I ended up taking, kind of changed up the way I worked and my work schedule like that because I could find that positive balance.
Hmm.
Let's see. Carol said, also, someone mentioned with my hubby, sometimes it is about changing the atmosphere in place. The where or when we ask is also important. And I do believe in that. I know, there's the phrase coined the nagging wife and whatever. And, it seems like a lot of times, women might just be waiting for you to hit the door. I do believe in both people need that time to decompress. And I think men more so because women are more the ones who are like, as soon as you come in, running down everything that went wrong with the day or fussing about this or that. But I believe we need that time to decompress. I think that we should always respect each other's space, respect each other's care time, and not just bombard somebody with, this is what happened and I need you to do this, I need you to do that. And I think that creates a safe space because most of the time women are going to be the ones who are more vocal and the ones who are just ready to talk. And we are wired a little differently. And I have learned that men will receive it better if you just give them that woo-saw moment because they've been out there dealing with whatever. and now they want to come in and just relax. But in the day and age we live in, a lot of us women are out there doing our thing as well. But because we're wired differently, men just need that time, or they're just going to feel like it's another attack. So saving that time, or even planning it. We have our times, especially when he was in corporate. We don't do it as much now because we're together 24/7. But when he was in corporate, we would just kind of have our check-in times where we sit down, Sunday afternoon and kind of just talk about what went well this week, what didn't go so well this week. Are there things so it's planned and it's not hitting you with something every single day? She said, yes, day is so hard finding the where and when both parents are very busy. Yeah, and so there's nothing wrong with scheduling those times to check in. If it's no emergency, we don't necessarily have to talk about it today. And that's what I meant earlier when I was saying being prepared for a conversation rather than just hitting you like, okay, we need to talk or this is going on. If it's not an emergency, we can wait. Let somebody get relaxed. Let them have their beer. Let them listen to ESPN for a minute and kind of get their mind right before you just hit them with something, because I know a lot of men have issues with that, and that's why they be out in the driveway sitting in the car and don't want to come in the house.
Your home is supposed to be your refuge. That's what it's supposed to be.
That's it.
It's supposed to be your refuge.
Yes, yeah, and it definitely should be. And I just think that, throughout everything we talked about today, it's just, I think, meeting each other where we are, understanding that men and women are different and not just assuming. And the biggest takeaway for me now that Wallace saying here, y'all need to quit talking to us like we kids. Because we understand, we get it. We're doing things our own way. And we do appreciate you looking out for us. But if you could just talk to us like our appropriate age and maturity level instead of like toddlers, we would just appreciate that. Look out.
That don't work all the time.
Oh my gosh.
That doesn't work all the time. Sometimes we have to talk to you like you're the child just to get your attention.
Oh my gosh. But then the thing is, when we come back and say, why are you talking to me like I'm a kid? It's like, no, we're not. No, I'm not. Yeah, see.
Because I'm trying to get you to listen. You're just talking. You're not listening. Stop talking and just listen. Then it'll come to you like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if we have an agreement to work on this even playing field, hear me out. I'll hear you out. See, that's the thing. Like, you accepting it. That's why I always tell people, don't text me. I say, because I'm going to read the text wrong 80% of the time. You send me, where you at? I told you, that's how I'm reading it. Where you at? I told you I was going to be here. So I'm reading it aggressive, like, hold on, why are you yelling at me, telling me where I'm at? I told you I was going to be here. Then you call the person, they be like, yeah, I'm right here. Where you at? I told you I'm right here. It's even with the tone,
but
the hearing of the tone is
the tone from a text, but y'all don't even say, oh, you shouldn't consider the tone. That's what I mean. It works for y'all, but not for us. I don't understand.
Well, I'm saying, like, with the tone, it's the same thing what I said with the text. It's the same thing with the one. Like, you got to understand, we're on the same playing field. We got to communicate better. Like, my text is, if you send me, it's like I said, if you send me that text where you at, I'm like, whoa, you yelling at me? I'm misunderstanding the text.
Why would you think that? Why would I automatically?
Because you put it in all caps.
Oh my goodness.
Not even just in all caps. If we just got off the phone and you kind of a little aggressive on the phone, then come back with the text like that, it's going to get read wrong. Even if it don't get read wrong, you're just implying, if somebody say hello, first starting off with the text, you're going to be all calm. But if somebody just hit you with where you at, you're like, whoa.
Oh.
It's like aggressive.
And that's what I think. I think a lot of times men are sitting on ready. Y'all are just assuming that we got an attitude, and nobody has an attitude. Yeah, voice messages are better, but I ain't checking.
There's nothing wrong with being prepared.
Message since 1998.
Yeah, I rather the talk. I rather the talk first.
Yeah, see, and I don't mind text messaging. I'm a text message person, and I'm not going to read a lot into a text message. I'm going to read it for what it is. And I understand it's not with everybody, but I just prefer to text. But I just think men always assume we have an attitude, and we don't.
That's not even just with women. I do that with anybody text me. I'm like, why you text me like this? men, women, anybody. I went to my job and told my job, what was this text you sent me? And they like, well, you didn't answer the phone, or because when I didn't answer the phone, they like, you need to give me a call ASAP right now. That sounds like you got a little aggressive in the text to me. So I'm like, I call them back like, what's up with this text you sent me? Oh no, we were just calling to say, hey, well, you didn't answer the phone. And I'm like, well, okay, well, I understand, because that's the thing. Just because a man talks to you a certain way, it might not be what you think it is. That's what the point I'm getting at. Like, try to understand what's going on, and then now that you know they're not aggressive with you, let's try to approach the situation properly. Because
okay, so y'all don't agree with the fact that men be sitting already assuming we got an attitude, but could it also mean that men are super sensitive? Dare I say it?
No, not sensitive.
Oh my gosh. Why? Because that's not manly to be sensitive. I think men are super.
We're not being sensitive.
We're not Ralph Trez Van up in here, no.
A man sensitive.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
To Texas dangerous though. Always check that program saying for you. My friend was driving and her voice to text said, can't talk right now, I'm drinking. Oh, that is hilarious. Let's see. Chris says sometimes when I text, I send it to the wrong person. Oh, somebody sent me a whole picture yesterday. She sent the picture and I guess immediately realized it. And it wasn't even somebody I know. She must have just typed in the number and she said, oh, wrong person. But it was a picture of two women in like some formal wear. And I just text back and said, no worries, but y'all look nice. And she said, oh, thank you. But I don't even know who it was. But I have been guilty of sending the text to the wrong person as well.
That brings up a question real quick though. Does a woman want a man with a sensitive man?
No. I want a man with empathy. I mean, sensitivity to a certain degree. Like, I don't want a crybaby man. I don't know. That's difficult. Like, I don't think that men shouldn't have any sensitivity, but I don't want like a sensitive man where that's like an overwhelming personality trait, because I'm not a super sensitive person. And I'm not really, so yeah, I just think whatever works. And that's the thing too, I want us to get away from, and that's probably a different show for a different day, but saying, do men want, should men, should women, it's going to be different for everybody, because the very sensitive man might be exactly what some women want. She said, romantic, yes. Sensitive, what do you mean? Right. Yeah, I don't want, to be
crying at the drop of a hat.
No.
You didn't cook the dinner tonight yet. Oh no.
Oh my God.
You burned the chicken. It's the end of the world.
You said you was gonna bring me some ice cream.
Hey, the funniest thing, I know my son, he's older. It's funny though. So my son was probably like, I would say middle school, and I think he had got his tooth or something. I don't forgot what happened with him, but he had to stay home, and we went to get him some like ice packs or ice or whatever that was going on with him that time. All I remember was me and my wife left the house to go get some medicine and something for him, and we came back, and he was like, I miss you. And me and my wife looked at each other, was like, what the heck? Like, and we talked to him about that to this day. He was like, I'd never do that. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I was like, boy, you were so sensitive that day. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to put this boy in some sports, get hit, football or something. Goodness gracious.
Oh my God. And that's the thing. I think that we need to get away from that too, thinking that boys have to be tough. Like, I feel like boys need to be able to defend themselves. They need to be able to be confident in themselves, but they don't have to be aggressive. They don't have to be void of all emotions. That's not, what does tough mean? I mean, they have feelings. And again, I feel like a lot of the issues that men have mentally as well as physically are because they have been taught to push everything down, because the feelings are still there whether you express them or not. And I think we need to be able to do more with teaching them how to cope with their feelings, emotional intelligence and things like that, not just suck it up.
Yeah, but that's what a good woman to do. A good woman to help you work through that process. And a lot of times, that's like when my wife, she, more or less my emotional. We talk, she tried to get me to cry. I'm like,
She tried.
you're
What
not
she
gonna.
do? Fix you? She
She
tried to
tried
get.
to get me to cry, be emotional about things. It don't work. Like even like a situation like my grandmother passed, like everybody was in there was crying, and they was the lady at the funeral home was like, "It's okay to cry." I'm like, "Cry for what?" And she was like, "Everybody else is doing it. You can do it too, like your
No.
uncles." And I'm like, "I'm my own man. Like, what's going on?" Like, it's a thing that like most men, we're not just tough in general to be tough. We have an emotional side. We have cried. For women that don't know, men do cry. Michael Mason wrote a book, "We Cry in the Dark." Well, we cry, but at the same time, it's like you know, something would have to really get to us to make us cry. Emotionally wise, we try to control our emotions, because the whole narrative of men being strong, women do like that. They, like you said, you don't want a too sensitive man. So a lot of time it's not the point of
Yeah,
us
that
just
was
being
said
hard
no
all
year
the time.
for her.
Rain,
Yeah.
rain, rain, rain. Let the rain hide my teardrops.
Let me
Let it
see.
rain.
So when you are sad, you go play football.
Yeah. Watch a
Yeah.
boxing match, UFC fight or something.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and all that aggression.
Eat
is-
some nails.
Yeah. Be tough.
Oh my gosh, what is it? Karate man bleed on the inside.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Right.
I mean, and again, I'm not a super sensitive person. I'm not a big crier and things like that, but I do see where it could be helpful to just, have that release and be able to express yourself. And I don't know what happened with me that made me feel like I had to be so tough. But when I talk about it, it's like, yeah, I'm talking to me too. But the funny thing is, even though he likes to live by the man code and the rules and don't cry, but he gets on me about it and feels like I should be able to cry and I should be able to express my emotions. And I'm like, dude, if you can't, why can't I? What she say? Right.
That girl, no,
right.
That's no.
Oh my gosh. And that's
Well-
so funny because that's what my daughter-in-law, she's expecting, and that's one of the things she says. She doesn't want our grandson playing sports because she don't want nobody slapping him in the butt.
Well, Stacey, I can understand you being strong and stuff like that. My mom raised me, and she did a lot to make sure I'm the man I am today. And she did a lot of things, and I watched her. And my mom was working 2 jobs just to support little old me.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand you being strong, but then you had a strong man that came in. So it's time for you to take your body armor and set it in the closet.
Yeah, and I have in a lot of ways. I really have. But I think when it comes to like the emotions and crying and things, that'll probably never change just because that's how I'm already wired. But as far as me being able to sit back on a lot of areas that were tough for me, I'm a lot better with that. But yeah, I don't think that I'm wired that way. Hey, Lacey J, how are you? She said she's trying to stay in the chat.
The slap on the butt is good job. Hey, get it together. It's a focus getter. That's what the slap on the butt is. Just like when you were born and the doctor slapped you on the butt and made you cry. That's an attention getter. That's all the slap on the butt is. I don't know why everybody want to make it something else. It's not.
Yeah.
It's just an attention getter. Good job. Or hey, just get it together. The butt. Never mind. Because most time in football you got pads on, so you ain't really feeling that too much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Feel it.
No, pause. No.
Pause. Because even getting slapped on the butt, it's like somebody punching you or something like that. Aggression. You getting slapped, you be like, oh, what the? You be like, you hype. It's not the other way that people pushing it. I mean, because even we had girls on our team, and the girls used to smack us on the butt, but we never smacked them on the butt. It was like, just good job. You know, because the one girl on our team, she was like aggressive like dudes, but she had her feminine side. But you know, she tried to be a team sport. We didn't try to make her different, but at the same time, we treated her different because she was a girl.
Right.
Yeah, long as you don't squeeze, you just slap. Don't squeeze.
Oh my gosh.
That's true. That's true.
My text comment says that Law and Order SVU might have something different to say about those slaps on the butt.
Yeah, don't squeeze, you just slap. That's all.
Oh my gosh. Y'all, we have gone a full 30 minutes past our normal hour and a half. We have been on here for 2 hours. The conversation has been that good thanks to our wonderful co-host. But this man has not eaten dinner yet. So, yeah, y'all know.
Ain't nothing in there burning, J3.
I sound like this getting off to eat. Well, I ate.
No quesadillas or nothing.
I ate. I cooked.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah, I cooked a lot yesterday, and so I didn't cook today. He just decided to eat his leftovers for lunch. So, and I had a late meeting today. I usually don't take meetings that late, but I just got in before we got online with y'all. So I'm gonna let this man
J3 and Sheed, I appreciate you guys, man.
Eat.
Thank you guys for support.
Appreciate
you, folks.
Yes, and thank you so much, Carol, and thank you everybody for
I'm
tuning in. If
I'm
you're
going
not
to go get me a bowl of watermelon.
food.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna eat some watermelon.
Sound
I had
good.
some watermelon earlier today, which is the reason why I'm really full, because watermelon will stick to your ribs. But I appreciate y'all. Each and every one of you have a good, wonderfully blessed rest of your evening. Y'all know the drill. Always be kind and always love one another, but never forget to live your life. LYFE. Love yourself first explicitly. And we'll see y'all next time in the hallway.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye,
Appreciate
y'all.
you.
Be blessed.
All right now.
Thank you. All right, bye.
Living like a stage. Hey, hey. 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 Love yourself first, explicitly. You overtook yourself to move with that energy. Empower your self-esteem. Self-love is king. That's the only way to win. That's how you empower your dream. Living like a stage. Hey, hey. Living like a stage. Hey, hey. Living like a stage. Hey, hey. Living like a stage. Hey, hey.
Dude, that was rude.